Hello Blender fans, Jayanam here with a short getting started for Retopology with Blender 2.8. This is my high poly stylized fence model from the previous part, and what I want to do now is to show you how to set up a retopo mesh for this part from scratch. Okay, first of all, enable snapping. You want to enable snapping to faces because you want to snap the vertices of the retopo mesh to the one that you want to retopo. So I enable this here for the faces, and I also check project individual elements. Alright, next step, create an object, a plane, Shift and A, and choose plane. For this plane I open the object tab and then I check in front. Now the retopo mesh will always be in front of the object for which we want to do the retopo. This option is in the viewport display, and you can also go ahead and define a color there. In order to see the color, you have to open the viewport shading, and for the color select object. After that select Backface culling, so that the polygons of the retopo mesh aren't visible from the backside, because otherwise it overlaps when you turn around the model and it really interferes the retopo process. Okay, in the end we have to add a modifier to the retopo mesh, and this is the so-called shrink wrap. For the target you select the high poly mesh, and once you start snapping your polygons to the high poly mesh, the modifier will kind of wrap your retopo mesh around the high poly. Alright, now everything is set up. I switch now to edit mode, and with the select tool enabled I select vertices, and as you can see they are snapped to the high poly fence. And these are the basic steps to get started with Retopology for Blender 2.8. It is very straightforward and simple. And of course you can use all the default modeling techniques for the retopo mesh. For example, you go to edge selection, select an edge and hold the Ctrl key pressed, then press the right mouse button to extrude new faces, and these are again snapped to the high poly mesh. You can press the G key to move around faces, edges or vertices, or press the S key to scale. All these tools and possibilities are available. What I also like to use is an add-on called F2. It comes with Blender by default. You can find it here in the preferences, search for F2 and enable it. It has a lot of features to complete and to fill your mesh. What I want to show you is to select a vertex in the inner corner. I use this a lot. And then you can press the F key to add a new quad. I extruded new faces by pressing the E key, then I select this vertex in vertex selection mode, and then I just press the F key. Then the next one, another one, and so on and so forth. This saves a lot of time and it's fun. So I really like Retopo with Blender, but the only thing that bothers me is that you always have to do the same boring steps to get started with your Retopo mesh and the setup. And this is why I added this Retopo objects feature to my Fast Sculpt add-on. You can define the target. I reloaded the project, all the settings like snapping are reset to default. Also the settings for the viewport shading, the backface culling. And the only thing I have to do now is to press a button, add retopo mesh, and the mesh is added, and all the settings that we made before, manually, are set after clicking the button as we need them for retopo. Now we can move around the vertices as before, and they are snapped to the high poly mesh. And also the shrink wrap modifier is added to the plane. The in front option is set as well, and if you like you can change the color now. Alright guys, I will speed this up now a bit, and after that we dive into the Python code so that you can see how this can be implemented by using an operator. So here's the Python code. This is the retopo operator derived from the operator class, and when this is invoked here in the invoke method, I make the retopo object the active one. It's again defined as a scene property, then I switch to object mode, deselect all and make again the retopo object active. Okay, now I'm sure that the retopo object is the only one that's active. After that, I enable the Backface culling for the view 3D. I have to search for it in the areas of the screen. Then I enable snapping to faces, project individual elements and the whole snapping feature. Okay, now it's time to add the retopo mesh. This is a plane and I add it at the center. Perhaps it's a good idea to add it at the location of the target, so I write a to-do comment here. In the end, I add the shrink wrap modifier, set the target to the retopo object, and also enable show in front for the object. Then I go to edit mode again, make the normals consistent, and we're done. Happy retopo. And that's it again for this short retopo tutorial for Blender 2.8. I hope you like it and you like my add-on Fast Sculpt. As I said, it's free. I added a link to the description below. Get it from there for free. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Stay tuned and I see you on Jayanam.